Hey, my friends, today's episode is just really kind of off the cuff. It's just going to be really casual conversation, even more than normal, I think. But I want to talk about, this concept and cycle that we get into hustle mode, and we're constantly trying to make more money. We're constantly striving. Building generational wealth is like the new buzzword, I would call it, or the new concept. And, there's nothing wrong with any of these things. I am never going to say there's anything wrong with making money or working hard or building wealth or any of that. But I just want to talk about today, like stepping back and slowing down and really focusing on why we are doing it. Why are we doing these things? And as we're doing them, how do you feel? And what is the fallout around you? So this is what we're going to talk about today. I am super excited. Let's just get to it. Hey friend, welcome to the Seeking Over Striving podcast. Do you want to slow down and seek God in your business? Do you find yourself up late at night Googling side hustle and making more money online in hopes for financial freedom? Do you wake up with good intentions to start your day with God, to be more present with your family, and to get all of your to-dos crossed off, only to end up feeling guilty when you spent the day consumed with social media? You've added more to your plate and you put off that Bible study yet again. Hey, I'm Beth, and I too was constantly thinking about how to make more money, and I felt like I had to hustle for everything on my dream board, and I wished I could have financial freedom. I wanted 10K months, more peace, and to be present with my family, but I didn't have any boundaries. I wasn't seeking God in my business, and I kept thinking I was the only one who was going to make it happen for myself, until God showed me the truth. I needed to ditch boss babe culture and follow Him. In this podcast, you will learn how to slow down with God, how to set boundaries, and how to renew your mindset so you can find true financial freedom and abundance in Christ, not wealth. So dust off that Bible, grab your coffee, and let's get started. Hey friend, did you know that I do one-on-one mentorship calls for women just like you? Burnt out Christian entrepreneurs who want to slow down and seek God in their business. If you aren't sure what that actually looks like or if it's even possible, I totally understand. And I know how exhausted you are and how the idea of doing things differently sounds like one more overwhelming and impossible thing to figure out. Like you can't even wrap your mind around it at this moment, right? But that's why I'm here. I would love to be here to help mentor you. During our calls, we can help you strategize slowing down, like in an actual strategic way, slowing down and seeking God in your business to reprioritize Him. And that will give you peace. It'll enable you to be present with your family. You can experience time freedom, financial freedom, and abundance that is like far beyond anything that you can put on a vision board. Trust me, I've walked through it. I will always walk through it because it's honestly always going to be a process. But there's no reason to put it off. It's time to get back on track with God today. You can visit my website at www.revivalb.co. You can book your call, grab a notebook, grab a pen, dust off that Bible, and let's sit down and talk about this together. I would love to help mentor you through your journey as you prioritize God and seek Him in your business and your daily life as a Christian entrepreneur. So get your call booked today, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, so as I said, this is just going to be kind of hopefully a quick episode for you to listen to. I know how busy everybody is. I try not to be long-winded. This really has been like heavy on my brain the last couple of days, and I haven't even sat down to write an outline for it. And I just really kind of need to like bang it out, get it done right now. So I'm just going for it, but nothing super strategic today anyway. I just want this message to be encouraging. And I want to just start by saying, I never want to come across that I'm throwing stones or judging or saying that your journey or your passions or your desires or your goals or any of that is wrong. We all have a different path. We all have a different purpose, and God has us in a different place at a certain time, all the times for such a time as this. We are all here to do something different in our own way, in our own path. There is no right or wrong in any way, shape, or form of doing business. And I mean, there is, but not if you're doing business for the kingdom. If your heart is in it to serve others. But a huge piece of this is I just feel like in our modern world, when we're surrounded by social media and all the things, it's so easy to lose sight of that kingdom impact and why we're doing the things we're doing. And it just gets so easy to slide into this like boss babe hustle culture, where you're just, constantly just hustling. The hustle to make more money. And I just was thinking about it so much over the weekend, and I've had some conversations with friends and have just, they've talked about some conversations that they've had with some other friends that, it's kind of just, it's this weird pandemic with us Christian entrepreneurs. Like, we're all stuck in this hustle mode and burnout. And here's the deal, this isn't how God ordains anything. Yes, I feel like we are, not every woman's called to work, but if you're an entrepreneur, you probably are pretty solid in that calling that, you're called to work. That's where I've always felt. Even before I was an entrepreneur, I loved working. I like working hard. And I think that, we are called to do our job with excellence and with integrity and to work hard and do the best we can to serve whoever it is we're serving in, whatever marketplace that is, whether you work one-on-one with clients, whether you have an online shop, if you're, a realtor, if you have a coffee stand, just whatever it is, we are asked, I feel like, by the Lord to do our job in the best of our abilities, of course. There's nothing wrong with that. And I feel like that is how we all should be operating. But that whole idea and posture is completely different than this crazy hustle mode. And I feel like the hustle mode is where we are so stressed. We are so burnt out. We are trying to meet all these expectations of the world, which at the end of the day, nobody really cares. I feel like and maybe I'm just speaking for me, but honestly, if God has me giving this message, there's somebody else who needs to hear this. We are not alone. We all have the same issues, maybe not exact, but we all face the same things in this world. And in this circle of entrepreneurship, I think that we all just face so many of the same things. And so I hope this just really isn't all about me, but I feel like there has to be somebody out there that needs to hear this as well. But I was just thinking about social media the other day for myself on a personal note. I was like, should I be posting things on Instagram? I do feel like, spreading God's message and word and truth on social media is amazing. And I mean, social media is so censored already. Most of it is political and medical, and which, those two things are pretty much the same at this point. But I don't know that a lot of biblical stuff is censored yet on social media. I still see quite a bit of it out there, but I think that it is a blessing that we are still able to post biblical truth on Instagram. I fear there will be a day that we won't be able to do that. I hope that day never comes, but I mean, who knows? Seriously, society's a wild card. Who the heck knows what's going to happen tomorrow? So I kept thinking and I have been in prayer a lot lately about, should I be posting my messaging on Instagram? And for me, Instagram literally just sucked the life out of me and killed my soul. Instagram was the catalyst of my burnout and how I fell into this crazy boss babe culture. And I really want to stay away from it. I don't want to touch Instagram. I want to be away from it as much as possible. I get on and scroll a very tiny little bit amount, but honestly, I really am trying to not even do that. I really just want to be away from it. And I know that that's not everyone's story. I know that a lot of people can handle Instagram, and God is very much calling them to have their message on there and use that platform for the business and all the things. And that's all amazing. None of that is wrong. But for me, I know I really need to not be on there right now. Will I be on there at some point? Maybe. But for now, it's not for me. And it's not like basically God's like, you don't need to be on Instagram for what I'm calling you to do. Don't worry about it. Okay. So that's great. But I was just thinking of how the reality is of how fickle people are, how fickle social media is as well, and just how fickle we are as people and society. And if you get off Instagram, you are forgotten. If you are not posting every day, a couple times a day, doing reels, doing all the trends, doing all the trending music, all whatever the new dances or meme is or whatever crap you have to keep up with, like if you're not dialed into Instagram and in everyone's face all the time, people are going to forget about you. And that's actually very sad. And of course, not everyone will forget about you. You're going to have super fans. You're going to have diehard followers. But the reality is, if you just got off Instagram tomorrow, eventually, like for the most part, your followers are going to forget that you're even there because, and I don't mean this as a slight to you, I'm saying there is like, we are so distracted. There is so much coming at our brains every single minute of the day. Like we can't even keep up with all the content that we do consume, let alone even have the brain space to remember the content we don't see. So when we're busting our ass on social media, like, I mean, have we even stopped to think, what happens if I don't do this anymore? Like, is this even worth it? Is this even worth it? Here's the deal. If Instagram went down tomorrow and never came back, what would happen to your business? What would happen to your following? I mean, there are so many people that are Instagram famous and they've built their business on this platform. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to be negative about it. I'm just saying we have zero control over social media. We have zero control. Instagram could block your account tomorrow. Guess what? You have zero control over that. Are you going to hire an attorney and go against Instagram? If you are, good luck. I mean, unless you're a multimillionaire, that's probably not going to go very well. Like, I'm just being realistic. If social media went down tomorrow, what is going to happen to your business? Like, and just from a completely strategic business standpoint, this is why having an email list is so valuable, which, let's be real, Google could block your email tomorrow as well. We really have no control over that either. But I mean, let's not start pulling that thread, right? But that's kind of also part of my point here. Like, we control so little. So let's do the best we can, but let's not get so wrapped up in social media being our end all be all. Because at the end of the day, it could go down tomorrow, and then what is going to happen to your business? And when you look back at all of those hours that you've spent creating content, finding the perfect hashtags, making all the reels, dancing like a fool or whatever, which I'm sorry, that was probably so rude, but like just the whole dancing on Instagram, like TikTok dancing, it's just not for me. It's like, not saying you're a fool. That was so rude. Like, if that's your jam, that's fine. And actually, I have a friend. She's a hairdresser. She like does like funny dances and memes and whatever. And I love it. And it's so like, she's just so cute and candid about it. And it's funny. It's just not my jam. Whatever. The point is, like, how much time are you painstakingly sitting and doing these things on social media and fighting the algorithm? Like, this is another question nobody seems to be asking. Why does Instagram make it so hard for us to grow our following? Like, you have to beat some new algorithm almost on a weekly basis. Why? Why are they even doing that? Why is Instagram being an a-hole about everything? Why are they making our lives so difficult? And why are we even supporting this? Like, why are we painstakingly trying to beat this algorithm that they're putting in place on purpose seemingly to make our lives difficult. Like, why are they making this so hard? Why wouldn't they just help out small businesses and help our reach and help us thrive, help everybody grow and do a great job on their platform? Why would they not want that? Like, why is Instagram working against us? And why are we not asking these questions? And why are we supporting it? Why are we selling our souls to Instagram when they make our life a living hell? Why are we doing this? And again, if like Instagram flows so easy for you, and if you built your business there, if it's successful for you, if you are earning a good living off of your Instagram reach, that's awesome. And if it's not stressful for you, and if it's not sucking you dry, great, keep doing it. And and if God wants you there and you do still feel like it's killing you, but you know God's calling you to be there, and it's fine. Like, He is also above the algorithm. God's above everything. Like, He's going to get your message out wherever it needs to be if He's asking you to be on social media. But I'm speaking to, like, if you hate this whole social media game, just sit for a second and think, why am I even doing this? Is it even worth it? Is it actually helping me? Is it actually growing my business? Is this what we're actually supposed to be doing at all? Just something to think about, and I've already ranted for like 13 minutes. I should stop here. I don't want you to be in this place where you are constantly consumed with social media and using it to grow your business. Again, if it does grow your business and it's a breeze for you, that's amazing. But we can't stake everything we have into this platform. We can't do this. And it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to run your business that way. Anyway, I hope that was just something to think about. I don't know why I've been feeling so deep in my stomach to talk about it. And I mean, it's just, I know for me, the whole Instagram thing was just a way, you want to grow a following. It's brand recognition. It's building your brand and all the things. So hopefully you end up growing your customer base in whatever way, shape, and form that is. And then, it's for the purpose of making more money. So, but it's just, are we so hyper-focused on making money that we even see that the platform isn't really doing us any good? And it goes back to, again, why are we struggling or hustling or busting our butt to make this money? What are we doing it for? Are we simply doing it just to pay our bills every month? I mean, yeah, we all got to pay our bills every month. That's life. I mean, we all need money to live. That's the reality. Or are you busting your butt because you want a better house? This is another very common conversation that I feel has been in my ear a lot lately, and especially with the state of the housing market and interest rates and all the things. It's everything is so expensive. And now people are kind of pigeonholed into this position where it's not even worth it for them to sell. They definitely cannot sell to buy a better house. Or even if some people can, I mean, again, is this so important that we are stressing out about it? Is it really at the end of the day so important to be stressed about having a better house? What is actually wrong with the house that you have? And this is just a very common thought for me. I mean, my husband and I still live in the first house we bought. We've lived here for 18 years. We bought it before we got married, right before we got married. And of course we planned to fix it and flip it, and then we just never did. And I mean, thank God we didn't, because we have a small house and we have a small mortgage, and there are 5 of us crammed in here with 2 dogs. It's, half the time we all feel like we're suffocating. The other half of the time, I actually love that it's small. It's less to clean and it's cozy. And I like that we're kind of close in here. I mean, I don't mind having a small house, But sometimes I hate it and want to burn it down. I mean, that's the reality. Sometimes I pine for a better house and more space. But by the grace of God, we never did. I mean, we've never been upside down in our mortgage, and we have a small payment. There's not this stress of, if something happens and one of us couldn't work, we can't pay for it or whatever. But it very well could be, it could have all turned out so differently for my husband and I. I mean, and I know these are conversations that other Christian women have had, and I've had them with them. It's like, when we are not content with what we have, why are we not content with it? Like, do you really need a different house? Do you really need a bigger house? Do you really need a better house? Like, why don't you like the house that you have? Because you don't like the layout of your kitchen? Is that really a whole reason to sell it and like build a new one? I mean, and again, I'm not throwing stones at anybody. There's nothing wrong with wanting a different house, but it's just, why? Like, why do you really want a different one? Is it just because everyone else has a better house than you, so now you need to have a better one? Or your friend has a new house, so now like suddenly your house looks like crap, like after you just went into her brand new house and now you feel like not so content anymore? I mean, that's normal. We're human beings. These are all normal feelings. But it doesn't mean we have to have what we want. It doesn't mean that we should push to get what we want. I mean, are we, and it's just like, again, another conversation that's been like pulling on me and so fresh in my mind with some other friends that we've had this conversation recently. Like, what does this do to our marriages? What does this do to your relationship? Like, when you are constantly complaining that what you have isn't good enough, how does that make your husband feel? And like, that is something I've had to learn, and I've learned these things over the years, but it's like, if we're constantly complaining that our house isn't good enough and our car's not good enough and we don't have vacation enough or we don't whatever enough, or, we have to remodel our bathroom or we need a new kitchen or whatever it is, like when whatever we have isn't enough and we're constantly complaining about that to our husband, like how does that make him feel? Like, I think that it probably makes him feel like he's not doing good enough, and these conversations happen. And then, husbands work more, they work harder, they work longer hours, they take second, side jobs. They constantly are like pushing for promotions and all the things to make their wives happy. But then what actually happens? What happens to the marriage? Like, how much strain is there? And then now the husband is gone working all the time, and then the wife's pissed because he's never home. And then the husband's like, I can't win. I mean, why are we doing this, you guys? This is my point. Like, why are we doing this? Why is there this constant quest for more and better, and nothing is ever enough? And why do we even feel that way? And for me personally, it goes back to social media. And I was listening to something the other day, I can't even remember what it was, but they were like, it's not just like keeping up with the Joneses next door. Now it's keeping up with the Joneses all over your social media. It's keeping up with 700 Joneses that you follow on Instagram or Facebook that, we're constantly seeing the highlight reel of everybody's life, but we don't see anything else. Maybe your friend has the perfect house, but you don't see all the arguments that her and her husband have because they're both stressed out because they're working like crazy. I mean, we have to just stop and think, why are we doing this? And again, I promise I'm not throwing stones at anybody. I'm just making a plea to all of you, to myself, to like not forget these things. Like, I'm just making a plea to all of us in general. Like, we can't keep doing this. We cannot keep living this way for material purposes and worldly treasures that we're storing up here on earth that are all going to be dust. Someday, everything's going to be dust, and none of it's going to matter. Like, Are we busting our butts to have this perfect European vacation with our kids for a week, but like the whole rest of the year we miss being present with them because we're working so much? Like, is that week vacation worth it? Or is just being more present with your kids all the time worth it? And I'm not saying either way is right or wrong. It's just constantly being so mindful and slowing down and stopping and think for 1 minute, what are we doing? What impact is it having in our home, in our marriages, with our kids? What impact is it having on our business with our clients? Are we giving our clients our best when we are so focused on scaling and doing more because the beautifully successful business we already have isn't good enough for whatever reason? Like, what does that do to clients? I think we've all seen businesses scale and fail, where it's like, if you would just stay put with the beauty that you already have in like this awesome, successful business that God has already graced you with, just be content with it and sit with it, and it's fine. And I'm saying this because I've done this with you guys. Like, I've done all these things and had all these thoughts and made all these mistakes, and like, I can be somewhat on the other side looking in, and these are all the things I would love to tell myself 10 years ago. Just be content with the beauty of what you've already been given. It doesn't have to be more. You don't have to scale. What you have is enough. What you're doing is enough. Who you are is enough. What you have today is enough, because it's what God's given you. And yes, I understand there are circumstances like where maybe you do need to make some money to pay some stuff or whatever. I get that. I mean, I'm there too. Like, I get all of it. But you guys, we need to just sit in what we have and not be on this constant quest for more. And again, at the end of the day, it's all going to be dust, and none of this is going to matter. At the end of our lives, none of these things, your car, your home, your bank account. Here's the deal. If the economy crashes tomorrow, you're not getting your money from Edward Jones. Even if you just have a regular savings account at the local credit union, if our economy fails tomorrow, you're not going to get that money out of the bank. Okay? That's the truth. Like, it doesn't matter. Yes, save and be smart, but like, we can't get hung up on these things. If you push and push and push for that bigger house with that giant mortgage, and the economy crashes and that affects your job or your husband's job, and your job is gone, and then your house is gone, what was it all for? Like, we really don't control any of these things that we are trying so hard to get. We are clawing our way through life so hard to get these things that we really don't even own. That's the bottom line. I mean, if you own your home, yeah, you own it. But I mean, let's be real. If the government really wanted to come take the house that you own, they could. I mean, are you going to stop them? Probably not. Like, I mean, it's just, but I think you know what I mean. I digress. Okay. I hope you enjoyed my rant today. I enjoyed it. I enjoy saying these things to you because I hope that it just saves you so much time and trouble and heartache that I've gone through. I hope you don't have to go through it. Just sit and rest and be content with where you're at and with what you have. And if God asks you to do more or have more or scale or whatever, that's awesome. Do it. But don't do it just so you can flaunt it on social media. Because you know what? Nobody actually really cares. Like, sorry if that's rude, but at the end of the day, no one actually cares. And if social media crashed tomorrow, no one would remember. So we just got to keep things into perspective. Like, stay focused on the internal, stay focused on the kingdom impact, not focused on the worldly, temporary things of this life because they don't matter. Okay, If you're listening still, you're amazing and I love you. I'm going to put all the links in the show notes for you to get in touch with me. If you have any comments or questions or want to share anything, I would love to hear from you anytime. So I hope this message blessed you. And till next time, have a fantastic day. Hey friend, I hope today's episode blessed you. If so, would you take 30 seconds to please leave me a review on Apple Podcast? And I would love it if you would help me spread the movement and share this episode with a boss babe you know who may also need to stop striving and start seeking. Okay, don't let that Bible collect any dust. I will see you back here in a couple days for another episode, and until then, be intentional about slowing down, seeking God in your business, and remembering that true abundance comes from Him and abiding in His promises.